So in this video, I'm going to be explaining what are eccentric pull-ups, why you should be doing them to allow you to build more muscle, more strength, and increase the number of pull-ups that you can do. Let's get straight into the video. So for anyone that doesn't know, eccentric pull-ups or negative pull-ups is talking about a certain phase or portion of the rep that we are talking about. When we look at an exercise, there are two main phases, the concentric and the eccentric. If you don't know what that means, in the concentric phase, we are putting the muscle under tension and we are shortening the muscle. When we are doing the eccentric, the muscle is under tension while lengthening. When you look at a pull-up, when I'm at the very bottom of the rep, from here, and I pull myself up, this is the concentric phase, or you can think of it as contracting. When I lower myself down, this is the eccentric phase, or the lowering phase, or the negative phase. Most people often neglect the negative phase. They want to rush through the reps. What I want to talk about in this video is how powerful it is if we can try utilizing this portion of the rep, because we are actually stronger in the eccentric range. So we can utilize this, we can actually build more muscle, we can increase our strength, we can actually improve the number of reps that we can do. Many people, when they're trying to learn the pull-up, will know about negative pull-ups or eccentric pull-ups. Using this while also doing, say, banded pull-ups is a great way to help beginners progress from the inverted row to learning to do their first pull-up. What people don't realize is that we can use the negative pull-up or the eccentric pull-up to help us progress and keep good moving forward. So we're going to talk about the benefits of using eccentric pull-ups, not just learning the pull-up, but how we can progress further to increase our strength, muscle building, and the number of reps that we can do. So negative pull-ups, how do we use them? How do we progress with them, whether you're a beginner or whether you're a little bit more advanced? So like I mentioned before, the negative pull-up is a fantastic tool to be able to use if you can't even do a pull-up, because bridging the gap between the inverted row and the pull-up can be quite a big jump. Remember, we're using a portion of our body weight and then having to hold all of our body weight. So there's a big gap there. Obviously, utilizing banded pull-ups is a great way to bridge that gap as well. But like I said before, we are stronger in the eccentric phase. So if you're able to do the negatives, you can still build that strength, even though you cannot concentrically pull yourself up. We can still put those muscles under that tension. We can still get our muscles used to having to lift the entirety of our body weight, which is our resistance. So when you're trying to learn the pull-up, the eccentric is something you should be adding into your program. However, some people start to think that once they're able to crack out a few pull-ups, or maybe they can do 5, maybe they can do 10, that the eccentric has no more use for them anymore. And this is a mistake, because the eccentric can allow you to push past these little barriers, these little plateaus you have, because you can actually extend yourself a little bit further than what you normally would. Like I said, we are stronger in the eccentric than our concentric. So there are going to be certain periods where we would not be able to do the full range or the concentric part, but if we test our eccentric, we can get past those certain boundaries. So for instance, how can we use eccentrics to be able to do that? So some of the ways in which we can use them is play around with how long it's taken to do the rep. So for instance, if you're used to only doing a certain pause at the top, and then let's say we lower ourselves down, if we want to make it harder or test our muscles more, we can increase the time under tension. We can slowly lower ourselves. As we get stronger, we can maybe go from maybe 5-second negatives to 10-second negatives. Or what we could do is, if we have certain phases within the rep or little portions of the range of motion we struggle with, we can test certain ranges, because when you're doing the pull-up, you might find at the top, maybe just below when you can maybe get your chin over the bar or chest of the bar, or maybe you really struggle at that initial pull. There's that little bit where you really struggle with. We can hit certain ranges where maybe you might struggle here. Let's hold this position for 5 seconds. You might struggle at this period. Hold this for a little area. Maybe you struggle right here at that initial pull. We can hold certain areas and really test the muscle. So we can play around with how long we are holding each rep. We can there actually then progress it to how many reps do you want to do. So we can maybe go from sets of 3 to sets of 5 to even sets of 10. The other thing that I want to talk about, I haven't seen anyone talk about it, and that is weighted eccentrics. Doing your negatives, your eccentric pull-ups with a weighted belt, with a weighted vest, and actually loading on a certain amount of weight. This is going to be very, very important for people that are maybe even doing weighted calisthenics. For anyone that's maybe got to a certain point where they can't push past a certain barrier, if we can increase our overall strength, remember, our body weight is our resistance. If we can make it so our muscles can handle more than our body weight, or our ability to be able to hold that becomes less demanding, so we don't find it as challenging to lift our body weight, then we are therefore, with our amount of energy that we have, the strength that we have, we should be able to do more reps in that given period. So what you could then progress into, loading on a weighted belt, loading on a weighted vest, and start doing weighted negatives. This is going to allow you to push past your current boundaries. This is going to allow you to increase your overall strength. Like I keep saying in this video, we are stronger in the eccentric, so let's push ourselves, because what you would possibly not be able to do in a full movement or the concentric phase, we can push past those boundaries with the eccentric. You might be doing weighted calisthenics, you might not be able to do more than 5 kilos, maybe even 10 kilos weighted pull-ups, but could you do 15? Could you do 20 negatives? If we can push ourselves past that boundary a little bit, this could be all we need to be able to crack out an extra couple of reps. This could be all we need to be able to push past a certain plateau that we have. It's a great tool to be able to use to be able to push past that. And this can also be used for people that are trying to learn the pull-up as well, but you're still finding it hard with the band and everything to make that gap between maybe doing your first pull-up or maybe even a couple solid ones. Adding that little bit of weight might only be 2.5 kilos, might only be 5, might be just what you need to increase your overall strength, because when you go from the row to the pull-up, that's a big jump in overall resistance that you are taking care of. The one thing I do want to highlight though, when it comes to doing eccentric pull-ups or negatives, is it is going to increase the risk of you having DOMS. It's very taxing on the muscles, and it can be quite taxing on the central nervous system. So when you first get into it, go easy with it, don't go full hog, build yourself up like anything. When we get into a new movement, sometimes we run the risk of maybe getting DOMS or it taking a little bit more out of us than we used to, but as you start to build it into your program and make it regular, your body should get better at handling that stress. You're going to have to navigate that with your recovery, how much negatives, how much negative training that you can do. But guys, seriously, start adding in negative or eccentric pull-ups into your training now if you want to learn to be able to do the pull-up, increase your number of reps, or just your overall pulling strength and size. So guys, let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.